Now, number 7, to establish post offices and postal roads. I got a question. They established post office, but is it really federal run now? Do y'all know? Or is there, we have independents running the post office? Do we have federal people running the post office, or do we have individuals or contractors sort of running the post office? Pardon? Unions running the post office? Well, yeah, to a certain point. But I'm talking about basically, does the federal government run our post office? We have federal laws, federal holidays, and stuff like that. It's a good question. If y'all find out, we'll report one day when we meet again. Okay, number 8, to promote the progress of science and useful arts by making sure that the authors and inventors have ownership of their writings. And what is that now? Patents. Yeah, that's patents. The useful art by making sure the authors and inventions have ownership of their writings. That's your patents. That's your copyright laws. Yeah. So, and discoveries for a certain period of time. And so you could patent your item for, some of them are 30 years, and after 30 years, then it can be public information or publicly used. Number 9, to create courts underneath the Supreme Court. So who can create courts? The Supreme Court, can they create a court underneath them? No. Congress has to do that. So that means Congress can also reduce the Supreme Court from 9 to 4 if they want to. And they ought to be doing it, in my opinion. We need to get some of those things done. Now, number 10, to define and punish piracy. And I'll tell y'all what, I really resent that pirates are actually attacking our ships and taking over the people out there and actually doing pirating them like they used to a long time ago, just modern day equipment. I really resent that. And if I were out there and I got captured by pirates, I would really be mad, wouldn't you? Now, I think the United States ought to go ahead and send some people out there and commission them to go out there and get rid of those pirates. And that was in the Constitution. Okay, number 11, to declare war, grant letters of retaliation, and make rules concerning captures on land and water. And I think that that's a good rule. I think that we ought to be able to do that. I think that's good, don't you? Well, the pirates? No, we haven't, have we? Yeah. For instance, I was using pirates as an example. No, but they could. They could declare and hire a group of people to go out there and to fight the pirates. No, that's the one previously we've read before is one. God, I forget which one it is. We go back to pick that other one up. See. So, but this right here says to declare war, grant letters of retaliation, and make rules concerning captures. So you can make rules concerning your prisoners, what you do with them on land and on water. And I made a reference back to what we read just a little while ago, CC, which said that we could hire different entities to go and to take care of things like that. And I'll use pirates as an example. So we could hire people, independents if you please, to go out and to fight the pirates and pay them for it. Okay. What does it say? Grab your microphone, read it.
The footnote on page 66, 28.
Go ahead.
In the original, these letters of retaliation were called letters of marque and reprisal. These letters were given by various governments to permit private citizens to do a number of things normally associated with the military. They could recover lost property or use force to get even with the enemy for damages. They were sometimes authorized to capture enemies and enemy ships. And then 29, captures probably means property that was captured, but there is some evidence that the meaning might also include captured people. So it was not modernized, as any synonym might prejudice the meaning.
Good. Good. That's the secret of that little 28 and 29 on there. So don't forget, when you study this, you want to check more, go back to the back of the book. And by the way, I've got to tell you this very quickly, since we stopped there for a second. Michael Holler is the guy who wrote this book. And I ordered these books on the 31st of last month. I didn't have them as of yesterday morning, and so I got on the phone. And actually, no, I started the day before, and I left messages. But actually, yesterday, I got a hold of Michael himself, got to talk to him personally on the phone. And he's very nice, very, very intelligent, very. And he said, I'll tell you what, he says, somewhere my wife just dropped the ball because they're guaranteed to be sent out to you in 72 hours from the time you order them. And so my wife brought these to us just more than a few hours ago right here because they sent them, he overnighted them, so it cost him some money to ship these to us today. So, but Michael was really a nice guy. That's just a little side story there. Okay, back to number 12, to raise and support armies. Now, I think that's good. I'm for that. But Congress may not allocate money for this purpose for more than 2 years at a time. Very interesting, isn't it? They'll allocate money for 2 years. Had you noticed, and it was back sometime back, the government was talking about these things. And remember they said they could only do it for 2 years? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to ask a question from way back, though. I didn't want to interrupt you right now.
Y'all help me answer it, okay?
Something just occurred to me. I was looking at 8.5, the to coin money.
Coin money, decide the value of it, decide the value of foreign money.
If the Federal Reserve, if we have Federal Reserve notes right now, is the Congress right? So what's the Congress doing then? They're not actually. They're obfuscating their responsibility. Yes? No?
Okay. Okay. Say it a little more clearly.
Okay. If the Federal Reserve is actually creating our money, then Congress is not. Right? So that's what I'm trying to be clear on. Are they not following this?
Okay. Let's all talk about this for a second because. The Federal Reserve, is it a part of the federal government?
No, it's not. No. It's private banks. So there's something wrong there, don't you think? I think so. Yeah.
Would you say maybe it's unconstitutional?
Yes.
How would we know it's unconstitutional? We study it. We study the Constitution, right? We study it and study it and study it. We decide what's unconstitutional, and then we can better, as Justice John Jay said, we can better then know when those are being imposed upon us or when they're doing it wrong, when something is wrong with it. But you're right. Congress is supposed to make the money. They have the right to do it, and they ought to do it. They should not be doing it through an independent. It should be under authorization of the federal government. And my thought now on it, and that we probably our discussion would go deeper than that if we got to it. Okay. Okay. 13, to provide and maintain a Navy. I don't have any problem with that, do y'all? Oh, and by the way, when we enter point 11, on my notes over here, 11 through 16 is what we call common defense. It's all about common. The other was general welfare, broken down to that. When we got down to 11, we would declare war. And by the way, there's no restrictions on how to declare the war. Did you know that? There's no way, it's just whatever you want to say to do it. And I documented footnote 28 and 29. Thanks for reading that, by the way. So, anyway, now we're at 13, to provide and maintain a Navy. And 14, to make rules that govern and regulate the land and naval forces. So the Congress has the right to do that in a true Congress, when the true Constitution is being upheld. 15, to provide for calling upon the militia to enforce the laws of the Union, to put down rebellions and repel invasions. That's kind of interesting because, thank the Lord, have we ever been invaded? We've had internal wars or struggles. Have we ever had Germany come and attack us? Pearl Harbor is about as close as they came, wasn't it? Has there anybody attacked it? Pardon? Pardon? Yeah, that's right. They did it Alamo and invaded us. But we weren't in the United States then, though. Grab the microphone.
But there was a battle on our borders. Mexican-American War.
Mexican-American War, yeah.
Arizona. And
was that 1912? Is that when the Mexican-American War was?
No, it was prior to the turn of the century. Not this past century, but prior to the. Is in the 1800s sometime.
1890s.
And when it came out of it, the part of the Arizona, and the United States prior to that time just went to the, can't remember the name of the river that flows through Phoenix.
Oh, Colorado?
Huh?
No, Phoenix. No,
Yeah.
Colorado's west of that.
But anyway, it flows through Phoenix, and everything south of that, prior to the Mexican-American War, was a part of Mexico. And then we defeated the Mexicans, and we took everything down to what is now commonly the border, which is down the southern part of New Mexico and Arizona, and so forth like that.
Right.
And if you want to know more about that, look on Interstate 10 between Tucson and Phoenix, and they've got some historical markers out there, and you can find out all about it.
Don't forget, if you go down there, read those historical monuments. Okay, so we can call up a militia to enforce laws of the Union and put down rebellions and repel invasions. 16, to provide for organizing, arming, and disciplining the militia, and for governing any part of them that are serving the United States at the time. The states will still appoint the officers and have the authority to train the militia according to the standards prescribed by Congress. It's interesting, we still have state rights in there. Although they're calling up the militia, the state still has some say in what they do. It's like the National Guard, you know. And we sent them all down to New Orleans, remember? At the deal down there. It's 7:30. Y'all okay for another 30 minutes, or you need to go? Anybody needs a break for a minute? Y'all, anybody needs a break? Okay. Well, let's go ahead and continue on then if you want to. They got a full house out there. We got a big audience. Look out there at all those people, would you? And they're wondering what we're doing. 17, to make all laws whatsoever for the district that will be the headquarters of the government of the United States, Washington, D.C. Now, what's that? Make all laws whatsoever for the district that will be headquarters of the government of the United States. They have complete control of the laws in Washington, D.C. I got to walk over here and get my drink. Shad, I'll be right back. Well, it's the empty glass. Oh, there it is right there. I don't know about y'all, but I was getting thirsty. I'm going to tell you what, nothing like a good glass of tea. Okay, so
By the way, the name of that river is the Gila River.
Okay, good.
And more pronouncedly correct by English would be the Gila.
Gila River. Okay, thanks. I appreciate it. Okay, to make all laws whatsoever for the district, which will be the headquarters of the government of the United States, Washington, D.C. Listen to this. This district will not be more than 10 miles square. It says it can be less than 10 miles in, right? Not more than 10 miles. And on the History Channel a few weeks ago, I saw the actual corner monument of one of the corners of the 10-mile square, original. And remember, I believe it was 1861 that Virginia took back their part. They went back to the Potomac River, and that is not a part of it. This district will not become more than 10 miles square and will consist of land granted by one or more states and accepted by Congress. Congress will have the same authority over forts, storage places for weapons and ammunition, dockyards, and other necessary buildings. Now that's kind of a little generalized, isn't it? Other necessary buildings. These places must first be purchased with the consent of the legislature of the state where they are located. And that part, so they can do that. And that makes pretty much sense, doesn't it? I really don't have a problem with those. And 18, it goes on, and to make all laws which are necessary and proper for executing the powers listed above and all other powers granted by this Constitution to the government of the United States or to any department or office of it. Only the powers specifically put in here that we just read, that is all the powers that the federal government has. Now, in my statement, that's what I say in my release right here. I say in there that the government must recognize the limitation of those powers and adhere to it or start following it. And I think that they must too. Okay, Section 9. Okay, we covered a bunch of stuff in there. Let me go over here to my notes.